It's called Ak-xolotyl, and it's about an axolotl with a gun.
Oh my god.
This is the bit that sold it to me. It says a cute roguelite, and the axolotl stamps over it a deadly roguelotl. And I was like, I'm like, sold. Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the HGO podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Ethan, and joining me, as always, is my good friends, Kyle.
Hello.
And Hunter. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing just swell.
I almost forgot that we changed it a tiny bit, and I was like, oh, I need to change this. It's fine. It's fine. It's a new season,
I
everybody.
remembered as the video was about to start that we have a new intro.
Yeah, it's fine. It just runs better, you know. It runs better. It was just it was the gargled mess of like the hey guys, how you doing? And like everyone was just going for it. Makes everything better, and it makes it even better when we talk about it openly at the start of the show. It's fine. But welcome on in, everybody, to another episode. We've only had to wait a week, and games have come. So here we are. Resident Evil 4 is out. Chia's also out, but I didn't play it, and Hunter's only played 40 minutes. So we're gonna save that for next week. But Resident Evil's here.
Yeah.
And
Sure
begrudgingly, all of us have played it, which is fun and interesting.
Begrudgingly for him.
Yeah.
Well, I'm mad. I just want to say I'm mad because I said I'll play
Whoever
it for 180
subbed,
subs.
unsubbed.
Yeah, and I'll do it if we sub. Yeah. And I start the game up, and I swear, it's literally as soon as I start the game up, I go to the YouTube channel and I check someone unsubbed, and I'm like, well, I've paid for it now, so I'm like, get in there. I guess I'm doing it anyway. So if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, youtube.com/hotgamersonly, can you please subscribe, get us back to 180 so I can feel great. Thank you. But regardless, I've played it, Hunter's played it, Kyle has played it. We're going to give our thoughts and discussions all about it. And then we just got a load of other random topics to talk about throughout the show. Crash Team Rumble, that's a thing. It had a trailer, we'll talk about that. Kyle did not watch The Last of Us TV show, but I'll give a few thoughts and impressions on that. And then I played Yakuza Kiwami 2, so I'll talk about that as well. Just basically a couple of little topics. I'm assuming most of the podcast is going to be Resident Evil, so if you are into Resident Evil, come on in. If you're not into Resident Evil and are wondering, hey, I'm a baby, can I play Resident Evil 4? Come on in, we'll talk all about it. I'm in the same boat as you, figuratively and literally, because it does involve a boat. Let's talk about it. We're going to get into it.
There is a boat, it's true.
Before we get started, though, thank you for all of the love and support on the new season so far. Thank you for all of the positive feedback. If you do have any feedback that you want to go into more detail in, if you go to the website, hotgamersonly.com, click on Contact Us. You've got a little form you can fill out. Or just send us an email to hotgamersonly@gmail.com. We'd really appreciate it. If you have any thoughts, comments, concerns, opinions, that's all good. The highlights channel is fully underway. Cal's been putting some stuff up there. We're going to continue doing that as the weeks go by. So if you want to go and give that a sub, that's at HGO Clips on YouTube, because we all have ats now, which is a thing that we have to get used to. So if you want to go and check that out, that would be much appreciated as well. And like I say, thank you for getting us to 180. Then fuck you, the guy that unsubbed. But if you can resub, then that's a great thank you. As we gather ever closer, I haven't talked to her about you guys, but I really want to aim to try and get to 200 before Tears of the Kingdom comes out. And if we get to 200 before Tears of the Kingdom comes out, I will, because I don't want to put any extra work on these two chuckle fucks, so I'll do it myself. I'll re-review Breath of the Wild for the YouTube channel. We'll do a spoiler cast for Tears of the Kingdom that will go up early for podcast listeners so that you have an incentive, and we'll do a load of stuff. We'll just basically call May Zelda month, because who gives a shit about anything else that's coming out in May, right? That's basically what we're here for.
You make a grand point.
That's what we're here for. We're here for Zelda. Cal's like, I'm not playing it. It's fine. We'll make you talk about something else. It's good.
Oh,
good.
You know what?
200 subs, we can make Kyle play Breath of the Wild. Let's go.
Well,
wouldn't
Hunter
get that
just
far.
stole what I was going to say. I'll just tack on to Ethan. If we get 200 subs by Tears of the Kingdom time, I'll buy it. I didn't
Hell
buy
yeah.
Breath of the Wild, but you know what? It's for the show.
So this is your call to action.
I said I'm branching out this year.
Hell yeah, that's what I
do
did
it.
with Resident Evil. This is your call to action. If you want us to get games that we don't usually want to play, then subscribe to the YouTube channel. 200 subs before May. I believe in you. youtube.com/hotgamersonly. Tell a friend. Force them to subscribe. We'll all suffer together every week. We'll have to find a game that Hunter doesn't want to play. That'll be hard. We'll figure it out. We'll just have to find the most normie game ever. And there you go. Perfect.
Hunter, how do you feel about rhythm games?
It depends.
Okay.
I feel like he'd be
Oh.
fine. I feel like we'd have to make him play something extremely, extremely like mid to get him to snap. But oh well, we'll figure it out. It's all in the future. Anyway, let's just get straight into it. It's one of the biggest releases of the year thus far. It's the biggest release of the year thus far, but it'll be one of the biggest, I'm sure. Resident Evil 4 Remake is finally here. It is available on everything as long as it's not an Xbox One. That console sucks. We talked about that last week. Link down below. Hooray.
A
We just
clip
keep
for
it
that one up
rolling.
today, actually.
Hooray. There you go. There's a clip for all about it as well.
It's funny that it's not on the Xbox One, but still on the PS4 for some reason.
Probably because of consoles. I don't know. It's weird. Maybe the Xbox One's a lost cause at this point. Who knows?
Honestly, I think this is probably just because of Dead Space being like this next-gen exclusive that I was under the impression that Resi 4 was also that until I was reminded otherwise, and also only had to pay $60 for it. I was like, woo!
It's nice to
Very
have like
cool.
a next
Yeah,
gen
that
game
was
that
nice.
did cost only, like you say, about it was. I think for me it was about £45 or £50, which is great for me. I'm like, hooray! I'm not paying £70 for a video game, which still feels extortionate, especially in the UK. There's a cost of living crisis going on here, and here we are, where it's like game prices are up. Hope you want to pay £70 for even a stupid, like little tiny game that's like 2 hours. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. It's all good. It's fine. But no, it's here. It is available basically everywhere. And like I say, we've all played it on PS5. That's the version we're all playing. There are no differences really between any of the versions, except for I'll get the boring warnings out of the way. Apparently, there's awful dead zones on the Xbox version where you have to move the analog stick halfway through to even receive an input on the analog sticks in that game. So, bit of a warning. But the Xbox Series X version looks better because I noticed it. You two probably didn't, because you two aren't as snobbish as I am. There's a bit of like a hazy, blurry filter on this game at times on the PS5. It looks a bit blurry sometimes. I don't know if that's a bug or anything, but it's not on the Series X version, but it is on the PS5. Who knows? It's Capcom. They always do some weird shit where there's random arbitrary differences between the games. It's fine. But that's the nerdy stuff out of the way. Let's just talk about our impressions, because I know we don't care about stuff like that. Hunter, how much of time are you putting into it? What chapter are you on?
I am on chapter somewhere in the middle or beginning of chapter 7, despite Mother Nature's best efforts to keep me down. I'm about a third of the way through the game.
She can't hold you down, Hunter. She can't hold you down. Kyle, how far are you?
I played from 9 a.m. this morning until my PS5 controller died, and I got to the start of chapter 11.
Jeez. Okay.
This game's really good, Ethan.
Okay. So, as everyone knows, I'm a baby gamer. I do not like horror games. I don't like anything of the sort. So, I want you two to guess. If you were to guess how far I would get, how far did you think I'd get?
Chapter 4.
Okay. Is there a particular reason for that?
No. It just
Hunter?
seems like a good place for you to stop.
I don't know. I feel chapter 5, maybe somewhere in chapter 6.
You're close. I'm
I
mid
feel
chapter
like you
6. I'm mid chapter 6.
I was gonna say, I feel like you could have made it through like most of the.
I'm mid chapter
village
6, and
area.
this is what I'll say: is I'm about 4 hours into it. I'm in chapter 6, and I'm technically about 5 hours into it. Let me rewind that back, because I started the game on the easiest difficulty because I didn't want to have any struggles, because I'm like, horror game, don't want to be stuck in it. So I played the first hour, I played like the first couple of chapters in the easiest difficulty. And then I got to a point where I was like, this is way too easy, let me change it. And Capcom's stupid, and they don't let you change the difficulty at all. So I decided,
Really?
is it
That's
worth
weird.
is it worth it? You can change the difficulty down, you can't change it up. Is it worth me replaying the first half an hour of 45 minutes of this video game, including that stupid bit at the start with the village and the chainsaw guy? Is it worth me replaying this just so I feel like I'm actually playing the game instead of it being... And I said yes, so I literally restarted the game back from the start. I did the first couple of chapters again just to get back into the start of it. So I'm really like 5 hours in, but oh well, there you go. So you two, you're obviously big fans of Resident Evil. What are your opinions? What are your impressions? Obviously, Hunter, you have played the original Resident Evil 4.
I sure did.
Kyle,
Yeah.
have you
So-
played the original Resident Evil 4?
No.
And I've not played a Resident Evil, so we're all in the perfect position where we all have unique perspectives and can, talk about it pretty in detail. Hunter, as someone who's played the original Resident Evil 4, how are you feeling?
Oh, this is a pretty nice improvement so far. Like, months ago when I replayed 4 around October, and I was talking about the things I would have liked for them to, the things that will be nice for them to have in this version, like being able to walk and aim at the same time and being able to swap the guns on the fly instead of having to pause it. All those nice things are present here, and I think the adjustments they made with like the, utility of the knife in this game is really good as well. Yeah, I'm enjoying it so far.
Kyle?
Yeah. So I have come off of this playing the 2 and 3 remakes from I played those 2 last year, and honestly, you can jump right into Resi 4 and be right at home if you've only played the remakes. They play exactly like the 2 and 3 remakes did. This game, it's so much fun. It's really freaking good.
Yeah, I'm like, here's the thing, right, is I have never played Resident Evil. I've never really played a horror game, really. Like, the closest I've got is The Last of Us Part 1 and 2. That's the closest I've got to a horror game, and I think they're fine. I don't know what...
to some people.
Yeah. But here's the thing about this game, and I don't know if it's just me. This game isn't scary in the fucking slightest. There's like tense. There's tense moments, like a guy with chainsaw chasing you down. I'm like, oh fuck, I'm basically, I'm not like scared. I'm just going, oh fuck, dead end. Where am I going? What the? Oh god, keep running, keep running. Why don't people die when I headshot them? For God's sake, why are they so spongy? I hate how absolutely spongy these people are at times. It's really annoying. But other than that, I'm like, it really isn't scary. It's like there's nothing. There's creepy. There's creepy times. It's like, but you're going through caves with a torch and stuff like that, and you're like, oh god, I hope something doesn't jump out at me, or there's some weird tentacle fucking hentai monster comes creeping around the corner, and you're like, oh god, what am I supposed to do here? Am I supposed to shoot the thing? I'm like, I had Dead Space in my mind because I know you guys were playing Dead Space recently, so I'm like, am I supposed to shoot the head? Am I not supposed to shoot the head? It's like, I'm like, what is
shooting the head is pretty good for that. Yeah,
legs are also a good option.
Legs are a good option for in fighting things in general, because stunning them so you can get the melee kick on them is great. But once they get all, like, either once they've died and whether the parasite comes out of them or they just, rise from the dead again, I feel like it's better to move towards shooting them in the head after that.
But yeah, like you were saying, Ethan, Hunter, you can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but Resi 4, when it originally released, was definitely where the series started to kind of shift away from horror game and more like action movie set piece sort of thing.
That is where it started to, it
almost
walked
the middle
line
ground
pretty well
between this and 5, where 5 is full on action set piece, and this is it's
because there's still creepy things about this one. Like, there's still a village, there's still like a remote village cult stuff, and they've leaned really hard into that cult stuff.
And I feel like the full remake has tried to inject some of the horror back in a way where if you go and look at the original Resident Evil 4, it is very kind of grayscale and everything is like, it's there and it feels fine, but it's like, it's mainly just like fog and weird cultish. It's not, it doesn't feel tense. Whereas, in this one, they've changed, the intro is completely at night now and you're going through a creepy shack instead, and they made the shack a lot more feel like an actual house instead of it being just a weird, like, like L-shaped. They've done a lot of stuff.
Yeah, instead of a weird little hut.
Yeah, changes to time of day, having flashlight sections where you are completely in. There's stuff like that now where they have tried to re-inject the horror back into it, and I'm sure if you are like a coward, like you don't like anything at all, there will still be moments where you're like, oh, this is tense or scary. Like, people are still screaming at Chainsaw Man. I'm like, why? Just keep running. You can't hurt you if you just keep running, buddy.
I think the more modern visuals help a lot of the body horror stuff that would have been present in the old game. It just didn't come off as well because it was just kind of like heads exploding into poorly rendered blood. Now it's kind of like more violent with the way that their neck twitches and stuff and all that in a manner that I'm like, oh yeah, I guess there is an element of that here that I really didn't consider before.
It definitely, like I said, it definitely feels like they are trying to shove it. in the same way that Resident Evil 2 Remake and Resident Evil 3 Remake tried to take those kind of games and kind of shove at least the gameplay ever so slightly more towards the 4 side, where it's like, it's over the camera shoulder, like kind of look of that kind of game. It's almost they took Resident Evil 4 and they went, okay, this is the one people love gameplay wise. This is the one that people really like. Let's try and shift the aesthetic and kind of way people look at it slightly towards that 2 and 3 side, where it's like there are darker moments, there are stuff where it's like it looks a bit creepier instead of everything being like this kind of dusky grey and stuff like that, where I'm like, oh, there is some interesting stuff here. It's just body horror and stuff like that. Chainsaw guy chasing me and shoving it through my fucking gut. That doesn't scare me. That's not like a... Yeah. I get that for some people, the idea of a guy with a bag on his head chasing you with a chainsaw and shoving it through your gut and seeing everything explode is creepy. To me, it's not, because I can do that kind of separation between game and real life.
His eyes pop out of the bag now, too. That wasn't the original. That detail was absent. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Your eyes are about to come off, buddy.
And when he does show up, I'm more like, oh, for fuck's sake. I'm not like, oh, God, because you can hit, like, there's a section slightly later in chapter 2 or 3 where you have to fight him on, like, a staircase, and you can just hear the chainsaw revving, like, from a little while away, and I'm like, oh, God, I've got to fight the chainsaw guy.
I was like, oh, he's around somewhere. I managed to bait him into one of the bear traps. It was great.
Yep.
Yeah, it's just, like, stuff like that. But from a gameplay perspective, it is a really fun game to play. Like, it does, like, it feels good to play this game.
Oh yeah, it does.
And just the way that, like I say, it's just extremely satisfying. It's annoying at times, like I say, when things don't die and you're like, why, how many times do I have to shoot you, old man? You're literally an old man. Why do I need 2 headshots, a kick in the head, you explode into a squid, I've got to shoot you again? Like, why? Like, sometimes I'm just like...
You see, because I'm used to all of that, my gripes come in more of, I've had some hit detection weirdness happen to me here and there. Like, the dudes with pitchforks are more threatening to me than the chainsaw men are, because they'll just come charging through everything in between me and them and hit me no matter what I do, unless I'm, like, paying attention to them and shoot them in the leg. And I'm like, oh man, this is annoying, but... but it's not enough to, like, ruin my day or anything. It's just, a couple of times I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I should have got hit there. I was busy stabbing a guy.
No, I am the same way. I feel like my main gripes with this game are, I don't know, because in my head I always see the high review scores for Resident Evil games, and like, this game is fantastic from a gameplay perspective, from a story, voice acting, characters. We'll get into that. They're all fantastic. But in my head, because they are always like upper 80s, low 90s, in my head, I don't know why, but I'm always like, gosh, these Resident Evil games, they must be really polished. And then you end up with stuff like, I've had, like I say, pitchfork guys fucking proxying off other people straight through into me, and I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? I had once in the farm section, I had a cow that was halfway in and out between a wall in the barn, and I was like, how the fuck's that work, buddy?
Dude, in that area, I had a pig just going ham on a bunch of dudes. Like, it knocked me over, it knocked a Ganado over, it was hilarious. I'm like, chill out, pig. I don't want to shoot you.
It's like, there are some weird quirks with it where sometimes I'm like, okay, how is this working? Where one time I had a guy who got super angry and was like sprinting at me, but because I was on the high ground, he then decided to angrily sprint towards me, and then kind of in like a zombie horde game, then go and realize that he, like, is an AI, I need to find the fastest path to get to him, so then shot off in the other direction to go and fight, because it was like a whole system you had to go up on, and I'm just like, just stuff like that where I'm like, it's extremely goofy. Like, again, I'm not really... It's like I say, it's more tension than horror in a way. Like, if you're not into gore, if you're not into kind of weird, kind of Cthulhian monster creature things coming out of like people's heads, then you might find it a bit scary. If you're not into like chainsaw, like, kind of classic horror tropes, then you might find it a bit. But if you're like me, like, I feel like this is a perfect Resident Evil game to play if you just wanted to know why people like it so much, especially from a character and kind of story perspective, because it does kind of meld this kind of it weaves this kind of perfect line between complete cheese and like emotional storytelling, where it's like, just some of the shit that Leon says, I'm like, I'm tempted to play Resident Evil 2, because it's like almost knowing the character that you're with can kind of juxtapose, like I can't even say that fucking word, but juxtapose. Yeah, thank you. Juxtapose the kind of horror and the kind of fear elements of it, because you know that it's like, Leon's gonna say something stupid or make a stupid quip at the end of it, because that's the kind of guy he is, where he's just been chased around a village for 5 minutes by a guy with a chainsaw and a bunch of villagers, and they all walk off, and he just says like,
well, that happened.
Which is like, where are you going?
Where's
Bingo?
everyone going? Bingo.
Yeah, and then the title card comes up, and I'm like, that was 100% in the original game, and it's great. And I just like,
Dude,
there are so many Leon lines where I just absolutely adore him. I'm like, I can see why people love Leon so much, because he is just like,
no, he's so good.
Yeah,
he's shooting the lamp in the opening part there and causing the fire, and he's like, bill me for the repairs later.
Yeah, it's just
this game made me love Leon so much. Just seeing him in here, like in 2, I didn't really think much of him in that game. Not saying I didn't care about him, I just like, he's there, like typical Resi protag. But honestly, playing him in 4 kind of makes me want to go back to Resi 2 and just see him again in this new light.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's
the like, delivery on his lines too, where it's just like, he just sounds done with everything. He just sounds so tired.
It's just like, it makes me like, kind of like I say, it is that kind of thing where, yeah, there are creepy elements to it, and there's bits where I'm like, oh god, what am I doing? But I've never had that moment where I have had it in other games that have had horror-like elements, where I've almost had to like get into a dark area, and I'm like, oh god, I need to pause it, because I like need to like psych myself up in a way to carry on going. But with Leon, I know he's gonna make some stupid quip, or like, say something dumb at the same time, or it's like, I don't know. But it's like, I almost respect this game in a way where it's like, there are creepy caves, and there are stuff where you're going into places where it's like, there are corpses all over the place, and you're like, this is kind of gross. And you're like, any other game would use this tension for a cheap jump scare extremely quickly and like lose all of its kind of depth and all of its kind of like like your feeling of engrossment in the universe, where it's like, this game, it very rarely does a jump scare, and if it does, it's in like more subtle ways, where the camera pans as Leon walks into that room, and then you just see the guy behind him, and it's not, they don't play a stupid noise or anything like that. You're just like, oh, okay, that was a bit like, it's clever camera like trickery there. I like that. That's kind of cool stuff.
Yeah, I guess there's in gameplay a couple of segments or a couple of things I've hit that could probably count as jump scares to other people, where like I went around the corner, this was while I was like limping around on red health or whatever. I was like running around the corner of a room after like I had neutralized all the other guys, and it was like down a path in one of the shacks, and there was a dude in the shack, and I went around the door, and he just came barreling from the blind side. I was like, oh.
There was one where it's like, I walked into one of the manor houses, and I go into the bathroom, and there's a guy in the fucking toilet. I'm like, oh god, hello, what are you doing here?
Oh, right at the start, there was that guy hiding in the cabinets.
Oh, in the wardrobe. In the wardrobe.
Yeah. I don't think he was in the original version, because I remember being like, oh, I don't remember you.
No, it's like,
I'm like, oh.
There's stuff like that, but then, like I say, they're never really in your face or kind of like over the top with it. There's no fucking string instrument like shrieking at you.
Yeah, there's no scare chord or anything like that. Wardrobe guy already happened. Like, he burst from the thing after, the tension had already started with everyone else pursuing me. So it's not like it like was quiet and then burst through the wall like a Kool-Aid man.
No. There's like little things like that, but like I say, it's not really scary, and it's like it just kind of, like I say, it kind of, there's tension and it's like suspenseful, but I feel like people keep giving off. It's like when people say Crash Bandicoot's the Dark Souls of platformers or whatever the fuck, like journalists. People are like, Resident Evil 4 Remake brings the horror back to Resident Evil 4, and I'm like, it does and it doesn't. It makes it feel like a horror experience, but it's not like Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare bonanza, you're gonna shit yourself simulator because we're just gonna shove stuff in your face. It's not really.
Yeah, they certainly made it more tonally consistent with the other two.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they made. Yeah. Well, at the same time, I don't think like Chainsaw Man will feel like Mr. X running around after beating your ass up. I don't think it's going to be the same.
Oh, not quite.
No.
But I don't know. It's like I said. I feel like, again, it also third person also helps a ton. I feel like first person makes horror feel a lot more suspense. I don't like that's why I'll never play Resi 7. There's no chance in hell I'll play that. Because first person just creeps me out more because you're more immersed in it. When you're over the shoulder, you're like, Leon, it's coming for you first before it's coming for me. I'm fine. Like, I'm in the back here. Like, actually, I'm in the back, you know? Like,
it'd be funny, even if the other if the first person game, or I guess 7 specifically, because I know 8 does have the third person mode. Even if you did apply that philosophy to 7 and 8, they're still coming for Ethan first.
Yeah, I know, but because you're in the... I'm Ethan, and I'm in the position, you know? But, you know, I feel like... I don't know. It's like, I feel like this game is pretty much accessible to everybody, unless you really don't like feeling eerie. Unless you're, like, really, like, against it. There's nothing here stopping people that
very
aren't fans
prone
of...
to the heebies and or jeebies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like I say, I feel like it's a perfect entry point if you've ever wanted to get into Resident Evil, because, like, you know, I can see, as playing this, I'm like, I'm in chapter 6. I played for 5 hours today. I was expecting to play it for an hour and go, not for me. But the fact that I'm enjoying it that much, the combat stuff is fun enough, and I'm interested in the story. I'm like, you know, I'm going to keep playing it, and I will finish it. 100%. I will
love to hear it.
Continue playing it tomorrow. And it's like, you know, even if the rest of the series isn't for me, it has made me more interested in at least playing 2 because of Leon again, and, you know, trying that one out and trying 3 out, because I'm like 4 hours in, I'm like, I could have been done with Resident Evil 3 by now, because the remake is literally like
very
4 hours
true. You would have.
So I could very easily go and play that one, but it's like I'm genuinely like, it's the first time in a while where I've seen like a 90s rated game, and I'm actually sitting here and I'm like, I'm with you on this. This is the first time since Breath of the Wild where I'm like, I'm with you on this. It's a really fun time, and there's some, you know, creepy moments. There's some suspenseful things. There's some stuff that I'm not necessarily like. If you get scared of that fucking troll, I swear to God, no, you're not. Like, there's stuff there where you're like, there's some campy kind of action moments,
like the giant,
the giant guy, like the giant troll thing.
Yeah.
But it's like, clearly not. Or there's like, to be fair, I really enjoyed the boat fight. That was really funny to me.
Oh yeah,
like,
the boat fight
it cracks me
really
up
good.
to no end that fight is like the first boss fight you do, and you're like sitting there. It's like, oh, you're on a boat and you're chucking harpoons at the thing.
Leon and his infinite harpoons.
Again, it was just like, it's really funny to me, and it's bizarre, because then I go on Twitter and people are like, you know, like the suspense of like people are like talking about how they're like scared of it or whatever. I'm like, dude, you're literally on a boat, like just throwing harpoons at a whale thing.
Welcome to my world.
This is funny.
Like, I was just having a blast. I was like sitting there just smiling the whole time, and I took no damage, and I was like, where's my trophy? Like, what the fuck? I deserve a trophy for not taking damage in the stupid whale throwing boss fight. Like, what is this? Like I say, it's a lot of fun. I'm having a blast with it. It genuinely is a lot of fun, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. It blends that line perfectly, where it's like, if there's a policeman that's been brutally murdered, they won't necessarily pull you out of it, but then at the same time you'll have you should have stupid fucking one-liners and quips the whole time that are, some of them are truly more mortifying than half the stuff that's happening in Resident Evil 4 itself. You know, it's just like it's very good. I don't know.
Yeah, it is a really good game, and honestly, playing highly rated games like Resi 4 for this show is always one of my biggest fears, because it's like, what if I'm the one person in the world that this game doesn't click with, and then I have to come on this show and say, I wasn't too big on it. But, you know, happy to report, one of the best games of all time is still one of the best games of all time.
It sure is.
It's interesting for where they go from here, though. That's the big thing, isn't it?
Because next it's either Resi 5 or Code Veronica.
Yeah.
Which either one would be interesting.
That's the
honestly,
thing.
I would be, you know, as much as I don't like 5, I'd be willing to at least, you know, look at I'd let them show me what their ideas for a 5 remake is before I'm like, nah. Like, I could imagine you could even keep, you know, Chris and Sheva and all that if you want to. if you like split it so it's, you know, like maybe give them separate scenarios instead of making it a co-op game, I'd be more amiable to that. If you know, change the tone to be more consistent with the rest of them, I'd be more agreeable to that. Honestly, Code Veronica, I do think, really could use a remake like this, though, because that game was not the hottest one. Somehow, 6 hours and overstayed its welcome.
Oh no.
It is like it's interesting, right? Though it's like obviously I'm under the assumption that the next project will be 9 is the next Resident Evil game. I doubt they'll do another remake in between, but it's like it's interesting because it's like, you know, they could have they I know they remade 1 in the past, but they could do like a proper 1 remake in the style of the 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know, consistent with the rest of them. Also, like people like Kyle, like got into them with the remakes here.
I had to start with 2.
Yeah, you know, they're missing like a crucial part of, you know, the origin point of the story. Haven't even seen Albert Wesker yet, or met Chris or anyone like that.
This is true.
Never seen the Spencer Mansion. All these things.
And I'm just thinking,
never got to see the Jill sandwich.
Yeah,
I am thinking though, it's like, because I was just looking up, obviously the original Resident Evil was 1996. It kind of would make sense if the next game was 9, and then for the the 30th anniversary of Resident Evil, they did a full-blown remake for it again in the style of it. It would kind of fit the timeline.
That would be cool.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be shocked. Also, just putting off 5, I just feel like they're like, we don't want to go like any further. Like
we don't have any ideas for 5.
And maybe it's for the best as well. Maybe it might be for the best if they're just like, you know what?
Maybe.
Time to focus on new stuff now. We've done enough remakes. We've done the stories that people like-ish. So we're just going to move on. Might be for the best. But no. I guess we're all recommending it. I feel like that's pretty clear from what we've said today. It's great. It is.
It's
really
great.
Good. It's really good. If you're a fan of Resident Evil, you'll love it. If you're not a fan of horror games, you'll probably love it. If you're not a fan of tentacle monsters, you might not like it. But you know what? You might as well give it a try. And it looks really good. It looks really good. It's a very pretty game for most of the time.
Yeah, it is. Oh, it's funny. I got the Leon villain costume too, because I really just was very amused by how he looks like V from Devil May Cry 5. So I went ahead and got that, and it comes with like a filter too, where it takes like, you know, it takes the blue camera filter that's over the top of the game, and basically it applies red to it, and everything else becomes like monochrome. I'm like, okay, this is cool looking, but I also can't play the game like this. But you know.
No, it's just very good. You should play it. It's not very long either. It's probably like it's like, I think it's probably gonna take me like 10 hours, probably maybe 12.
I will probably finish it tonight.
Yeah, but you've played Resident Evil before. You've played Resident Evil 4 before, haven't you?
That's besides the point.
But no, like,
I'm also not like rushing through it. I've been taking my time. I've been doing the
I've done all the
I've done the merchant tasks and all that.
Yeah.
Dude, the merchant is hilarious in this game.
Yeah,
I adore
he is funny.
him.
He is very funny, and I'm just like, he just like randomly shows up in the most weird places. I'm like, this is so bizarre. Where he's just like, he's everywhere, you know. He's just everywhere. He's just big chilling.
My favorite part is like, he seems to just have stands all around this time. In the original version, he'd just pop up and he'd be just, you know, selling you stuff out of the coat that he's flashing to you. I'm like, nice.
Now he's got these like little Brock and Sindri like little store areas, and I'm like, oh.
He had a couple of those in the other game too. It's just he was
now
more
he has
often
them everywhere.
than not. He just light his little lamp and tell you where he's at.
Yeah. It's very fun, and there's plenty of replay value if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah.
The game wants you to do like 60 million playthroughs, with all the challenges and stuff like that. It's like beat the game in under 8 hours. Beat the game with an S ranking in every single fucking difficulty. I'm like, no, I'll just think I'll play through it once. I think I'm just good with the one time, maybe 2. I don't know.
Yeah. The mercenaries mode is going to be included in like the next 2 weeks or something. So that's cool because the Mercenaries was fun as far as that is concerned.
What was that for someone that's dumb like me? And
Right. The Mercenaries mode is like this score-based horde mode thing that you do where you gotta like survive for like 10 minutes and you get, kill the monsters and get points based on like combos, and if you get bonus points if you kill Chainsaw Man or some of the special monsters, so on and so forth. You're typically given like, you select one of like 5 characters and you're given a loadout, and it's just, run around one of the levels and survive.
No, fair enough. Well, there you go then. That's also available in like 2 weeks if you care for it. But no, it's a great game. You should go check it out. It's come out at a good time as well. Literally nothing is really around it, and April's a pretty busy month, so it's a good time for Resident Evil to kind of show up. I feel like Resident Evil always has it has like the opposite of Horizon, where it like always,
where it just knows when to show up.
It locks a date, and it's like always a good time for it. Like always, like Resi 8, the 2, 3 remakes, they always come out at like the perfect time when nothing else is really around it, and everyone just picks it up and has a great time with it. So.
Yeah, even 7 came out in like January of the year that it was released, which January was a solid spot.
Horizon, take notes, because it's like even now with your DLC, I swear it's either the same week or the week like before Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, take notes, for God's sake. Why? Why'd you do this? But anyway, go and play it.
Why?
It's great. Play it. It's cool. You should play it. And if you're in the UK, you can get like a weird like holographic sleeve that makes it unreadable. It's pretty epic.
Yeah. America didn't get that. We just got the regular sleeve.
Well, sucks to suck. What can you say? I'm the true Resident Evil fan, so I get the true copy. Like, I mean, to be fair, I do own like all of them. I just don't play them. It's fine. Anyway,
but now you will.
Now I will. Now it's going from one incredible Game of the Year contender to the other incredible Game of the Year contender that definitely will be by the time we're done at year's end. Crash Team Rumble got a trailer, and my boy, oh boy, it's a thing, and the internet did a thing, like had a response. It's crazy. I don't really know what to say. Let's get the trailer up. We'll just put the trailer up while we're talking about this. So, we weren't expecting much. Let's be real. I picked it as a meme pick on our fantasy draft.
That was
it's
a
been
mistake.
It was not a mistake. It's gonna get like a 70, and it'll be a balanced. It'll be perfectly balanced as all things will be. Because
honestly, 70 would be the perfect score for it to get for me. Ethan doesn't get points. Kyle doesn't get points.
Yeah. Exactly, but it's like, because here's the thing, right? Is this trailer? I'm playing the trailer now. It does nothing. It still does not show what this fucking video game is, and it's really annoying. It's like there's a beta. It costs money, which I'm still like, huh? It costs money.
Well, theoretically,
the beta or the game.
The game.
You have to pre-order.
You have to pre-order to get the beta as well. Yeah, you do have to pre-order to get the beta. That is.
I was like, you could just cancel the pre-order after you play the beta.
Yeah, that is true. You can also do that.
But yeah, the fact that this game does cost money is super perplexing. I figured.
Yeah,
it screamed from its very concept free-to-play nonsense to me.
Well, the fact that the first season, it's like, if you look at the pre-orders, it's like it includes the Season 1 Battle Pass and a load of bonus skins. I still feel like there is a play here, which I think is a scumbag Activision play, where as soon as after the beta is finished, where they're like, but by the way, this is free. You just paid for the deluxe edit. Like you paid like the thingy pass, like the Heroes Pass and the deluxe edition.
No.
And then
the Founders Pack.
Yeah. I feel like there's a dark road here because it's like, why are they including the battle? Why are they including the battle pass for like and stuff like that in the main game when everyone's going to be buying it anyway? It seems kind of stupid. So to me, I've got this whole whack-ass theory where I'm like, it's going to be free to play. They're just conning people. And sign me the fuck up. Pre-order the deluxe edition. I'm a sucker. I'm going down on the ship. It's going to be great. We're going to have a great old time. But looking at some of the previews, which is what's more important, I don't know why they didn't show actual gameplay, but they let people describe the gameplay. There were 2 sets of previews. One is from previews of people who have just heard about the game, like they had a conversation with Toys with Bob. basically a 4v4, what we thought, 4v4 platformer,
Yeah.
which is an interesting concept. I'm like, that's interesting. Why can't you make it look interesting? Because the idea of a platformer game that's like 4v4 versus each other, it kind of sounds like a fun idea.
Yeah.
Where you essentially are racing to collect Wumpa Fruit, and you use relics and the Wumpa Fruit to gain powers that are in the map and basically fight for dominance over a map, which I'm like, that's an interesting concept. Show the gameplay, please. Stop showing these 30-second snippets that just reuse assets from Crash 4. Please just show us something that's actual gameplay. But the thing that's interesting to me is all the people that have played it have said they've really enjoyed it and that it's really interesting.
Oh, really?
Yeah. The people that just watched the thing were like, it seems cool, maybe we'll check it out. The beta will probably show it. But the people that actually played it were like, man, this is really fun. I'm definitely going to check it out. And I'm like, what's happening? Just show the fucking game. If it's actually fun, show the game. Like, I don't get why.
This is something I wish more devs would just do in general for pre-release hype, because Street Fighter 6 devs have been doing this a lot, where they're showing full set individual character matches before the whole game is out, just to show what the gameplay and the characters are like. So why are it's something that more devs should just start adopting, personally. Just show us what your damn video game is about, please.
It's just bizarre. And it's like, I can't tell I genuinely am like, there's the game, like, to me, it's like, why are the previews for the people that play it so, like, good? And then why is Activision basically going on a send it out to die kind of strategy? But if they're going for a send it out to die kind of strategy, why are they charging people for it? Because if they were just like, yeah, it's coming out, chuck it free to play and just milk the season pass off of all the fucking 8-year-olds and the stupid people like me, why are they going, we're going to send it out to die for a premium, guys? Hold me out here. $30, please. Take it or leave it.
Like, yeah, I don't understand what the methodology there is.
I just don't get... Like what?
I don't foresee very many people buying this.
Neither do I. Like, I genuinely
like. I could see a scenario where maybe it gets a boost in players if like it's one of those games that it's on the second tier of PS Plus or something on launch, or Game Pass.
It would need insane word of mouth where people are like, "No, guys, this game's genuinely fun.
I promise.
I promise. Come on in." Because it's like with all these games that have died recently. In the same genre.
Yeah, that's like another thing. Like games of service, kind of Rumbleverse, the dodgeball one,
Knockout City,
etc. Mm-hmm. There's been like 4 or 5 in the past, like since the year started.
There've been like 6 that died in January.
Been
everyone just
extinguished.
Everyone rolled out the fucking carpet for the funerals, like right in a row. They're like, bang, 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 like get them out of here. And it's just like, why? Like, why did they put resources towards this and not another Crash game or another Spyro game? Because it's like, also I feel sorry for myself included, for Spyro fans, because like Crash has had like 6 million games since NST, and Spyro has had Reignited, and that's it. And it's like,
and then he's got to like show up as a guest in Crash's stuff.
Crash Team Rumble. He will 100% be playable in this game, and it's like,
yeah.
Why not just make a new Spyro game? And it's like, you know, Activision acquisition is probably happening after everything that's happened this week. It's like, what do you fucking do?
This is a free idea for them after all that acquisition.
Can they just get Toys for Bob?
Make a Spyro versus Crash game where Spyro is jealous that Crash is the favorite and he tries to eat him.
Just, yeah, I also don't understand. They could have very easily have also done that for this. Like, they could have genuinely have made it like as stupid, you know, as stupid as the speedrunning term for Crash and Spyro always chucked together as Sprash, right? But it's like, you know, like, yeah, just turn it into, have more Spyro characters, make it more of a Sprash Team Rumble where it's like, you know, both universes kind of colliding. Would have been way more interesting than just, oh yeah, it's Crash Bandicoot again. Spyro's probably going to be in it, Ripto too, because they're the only 2 characters that show up. They'll probably get Robbie Damon in as Hunter again. There you go, there's the 3 characters. There you go, have fun, guys. $30, please. $30. Thank you very much. Make sure to enjoy Season 2's Battle Pass.
Wumpa Cheeks nowhere to be found.
They've confirmed 2 season passes. I'll be glad.
2?
Yeah, their prediction. They'll make it to 3 and then it'll be over. That's my prediction. Even if it's a great game, even if people love it and it's like really high regarded, it'll make it to 3 seasons. That's my prediction.
Like even if it does, even if it is like a genuinely good game, I don't foresee this getting enough people to sustain it, to actually, like, I just don't imagine that happening.
Yeah.
No clue. And it comes out the same week as Final Fantasy 16. Have we mentioned that
Yep.
point? Have we mentioned that one?
I
It's
don't
not
think
like
we
2
said
days
that yet.
before it.
Yeah.
That's also a thing. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Final Fantasy 16, Crash Team Rumble fans, I feel like there's a very small kind of correlation there. I think if we got our charts out, they're not
The
or
Venn
100%
diagram.
correlating.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's still stupid because all the publicity is going to go towards 16 regardless in terms of games media. So just why?
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get it. My hopes are that there's just another game in the background that Toys for Bob's working on. Like, that's my one dream.
Yeah.
It's just like, we secretly have been making Spyro 4 in the background the whole time with Crash Team Rumble was to get Activision off our backs. Please. That's my hope. But no, I'm just
Please,
like,
Mr. Spencer, accept our game idea.
please, Mr. Spencer, I beg of you. But, will I play it? Yes, I've already got it unlocked. Don't you worry about that. I'll be the first person. I'll be your point of call for disappointment. So be sure to show up in June or even April. The curse continues. I'm away for the beta, so that's fun. Paramore are touring in the UK the exact week that Crash Team Rumble's out, so it's like I'm going to go see them at the same time. So maybe I'll get a day in, maybe two. Who knows? All I know is I'm just going to have to keep picking up 6 bajillion games for my fantasy critic to keep repenting for the sins that I've done. And I mean, I'm already doing it. I'm already nearly full on my games now. I've just been
Oh my
dumping
god,
it
you
all.
have
Raw
3
City.
slots left.
Yeah, dude.
Hoorah City Skylines. Oh, what else did you pick up?
This week, Redfall, because as much as I think that game's mid, the
People
the games
seem to
industry
like it,
has a
which is
boner for
confusing.
yeah, the game industry has a boner for what are they called? Is it what's their name?
Arcane
Arcane,
Studios.
it is Arcane, isn't it? They have an
The
absolute
craziest part is,
hype
like,
load
yeah,
for
I
Arcane.
heard some of those previews, right, where people were talking about, like, how, yeah, I liked it, blah, 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 etc. And one of the most common comparisons people were drawing were to, like, Far Cry.
Yeah, and I'm like, there you go then. People are still going to love it. It's still
That's
going to
an
get
off
an
switch
80.
for me.
It's still going to get an 80 because they have a boner. What else did I pick up? Counter-Strike 2. Because why would I not pick up
no.
Counter-Strike 2? Because that's going to get the E-boys happy. To be honest, I was like, it's basically, it's a new game, but it's replacing Counter-Strike Go, so it classes enough as a new game for it to count. So fuck you, Kyle. If you can have Kirby's Return to Dreamland, I'll fight you back with Counter-Strike 2. Have fun with that one.
I've never even heard of this, so you're yelling at a wall right now.
Third game, I saw it retweeted by PlayStation. I was like, the name in itself, I was like, I'm getting this even if it doesn't show up this year. You get ready for this one, Hunter? It's called Ak-xolotyl, as in Ak-xolotyl, and it's about an axolotl with a gun, and it's a Gungeon game.
Oh.
And I was like, Hunter will pick this up at some point, so I'm just taking it. I don't care if it doesn't come out this year. That's a Hunter game that I'm stealing just to make it personal. It's a pun. It's an axolotl with a gun.
Oh, that
it's
is
an
so
indie
good.
game.
Oh, man. Oh.
And now
I
I'm
hope
like-
that comes out, like, around Gumbrella. That'd be great.
Oh man.
But I just saw it on the PlayStation Twitter,
I
and
need
I
a
was
gun
like,
game.
I was genuinely like, axolotl. I'm like, I don't care. Yes. I'm just like, yes. And it looks really good. I was like, oh, I hope that comes out. But also, it's a
I hope
cute
it
little
does.
guy with a gun.
I hope it does. Yeah.
It's a cute little homie with a gun, and you've just gotta,
You just gotta believe.
yeah. I'm just gonna, yeah. It's just, I love it. That's so good. I don't care. Redfall can be mid. I don't care. I've got Axolotl on my side, and that's all that matters.
You sure do.
I'm just gonna. Where are we? Here you go. Here you go, video listeners. So you're an audio listener. You can't see anything, but look at this. Look at this.
Right,
There's
Hunter
an
and I also
axolotl.
can't see it.
Yeah, there's an AK-47.
It's okay. This is the first thing I'm looking up when we're done here.
You should. It's fantastic. Genuinely, it's a little. And that's my favorite. This is the bit that sold it to me. Is there's a thing in the trailer where it says a cute roguelite and the axolotl stamps over it a deadly rogue lock. I can't say it. Instead of roguelite, they replace it with rogue lottle. I was like,
Oh my god.
I'm like,
so good.
sold. That's it. I'm getting it. I'm buying it when it comes out. I don't care. I don't like roguelikes, but I'm buying this shit now. That's like the most amazing. Like, I'm sold.
Oh, this does look good.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm sold. It's going everywhere. I'm like,
It's going
axolotl
Oh,
supremacy,
yay.
dude. Axolotl supremacy. Ugh.
This guy looks like he'd be friends with the Cult of the Lamb.
Yeah, exactly. It genuinely, dude. Game of the year. That's my game of the year. Even if it doesn't come out, I'm like, you've won. You've won. So yeah, Crash Team Rumble's made Axolotl incredible. Go and pick that up. Pre-order it. There's a demo on Steam if you are so inclined. And people seem to really love the demo, and I'm like, you know what?
Oh, you love it when that happens.
It's gonna be good. It's just that's one where it's if it comes out. I'm hoping.
Yeah, that's the big question mark with a lot of indie games.
I know it'll be
will
great.
It come out?
Just when.
Yeah.
But hey, there you go. Right. What else was on my little list? You know what?
Oh man.
I am going to skip Last of Us. Just
Cool.
because we'll give Kyle one or two more chances to go and watch it because I'll wait for him because you hear me rambling enough. But I do want to talk about Yakuza because Yakuza Kiwami 2 is fucking incredible. And if you're new to the show,
Sweet.
If you're new to the show, recently I've been going on a little binge of the Yakuza series. I played 2. I played 0. Get my games right. I played 0 about a year and a half ago. And I think I talked about it on the podcast. I'm like, it's pretty good. The ending's terrible, but it's a pretty good game. And then recently I played 1, and my opinions were, the ending's terrible, but it's a pretty good game. And now, 2, let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, 2, not only is it a very good game, like its predecessors, it has a good ending, guys. We have got a winner. We have got a winner. Best Yakuza game
You
so
love
far.
to see it.
It's incredible. Genuinely, it's like, 2 is the game that made me realize why you stupid idiots on the internet love Yakuza so much. I'm like, I finally get it. Because characters come back and I'm like smiling and excited and I'm like, yay, it's stupid Majima time. And it's just like, it's like a year has passed in the world of Yakuza, right? And it's like Kiryu's been pulled back into the game. There's all this drama going on, and Majima's now a foreman at a construction company. And you're like, what the fuck is happening, Majima? Let's go find out. It's just like, it's Majima's world. Everyone else just lives in it. And it's just like, genuinely, I can see why people love him so much. He's like genuinely become one of my favorite characters. He just shows up in a random scene and he just instantly steals it. And I'm like, I love it so much. Just like, yeah, he's so good. But yeah, it's like, it's the latest, it's the final remake that they did. So they did 1 and then they did this one later. So this one's in the Yakuza 6 engine. So it's slightly different to 1, which was in the 0 engine. And it feels good. They kind of removed the multiple play styles in kind of contrast to what they decided to do, which is make one really good suit like OP play style, basically, where you just like you get everything that you want from like all of your play styles, which I love. It just feels really solid. It's at 30 FPS, which kind of sucks, but it's so fun that I don't care, which is where you can tell. If I don't care, it's a great video game. It just like it's really, really good, and it's like the story is on point. The villain, his name's Ryuji Goda, and he's like the anti-Kiryu in a way of he's like an actual equal, where he's like an actual rival, where you're not just looking at someone and you're going, you know what, I don't like you, you're boring, and I'm gonna fucking beat the shit out of you at the end of it. You're like, no, I actually really like you, you have a personality, you have a charm to you, and it's like, it's just really interesting. And I'm like, man, it's a shame Yakuza 3 is not remade, it's just a port, and it's the worst game in the franchise, because this game makes me want to carry on, but then I'm like,
roadblock.
From the heights we go to the fucking depths of the Yakuza franchise, and I'm like, I don't want to. It's just it's like, it's so good, and there's just so many like bits to 0. There's a whole, they added a Majima kind of side mode, like a whole like an hour and a half story, where it's not only does it tell you the link between 1 and 2 of what he did in that year, which caused him to become this foreman at a construction company.
You have to know.
You have to know. But it also ties up a load of story beats from Yakuza 0, because they were able to now go and tie all that stuff that they added into the prequel back into the universe, and they did it with Kiryu between Kiwami 1 and 2, and now they have been able to do it with Majima's side. And it's like, it had me like, I was like, oh my god, like it genuinely is. It's utter fan service, but it's great. They bring back the cabaret minigame, which, if you are not a fan of Yakuza, it is like the most addictive minigame in a video game ever. Like, it could be its own video game. Like, they should just make their own video game of that, and it would
Ethan
be, like,
got
incredible.
locked out of it, and he had to express how he was going through withdrawals.
I
because
played
they
it.
made him go
I
play through the
played
game.
it for 7 hours. It locked me out and told me to go and play the story more. And then I came back, and I realized the reason that it locked me out is because I hadn't met Majima in Yakuza 2 yet. And if you didn't know, Majima was the person that was in charge of the cabaret in Yakuza 0. And then in 2, 20 years later, Kiryu has now coincidentally picked up the same cabaret club and is now running it. And so it wanted to get you to a point where Majima was in the picture, so that Majima could now be integrated into that storyline and make it incredible as well. Like, dude,
That's
it's great. There's a point where, because you're like in like a Grand Prix, and you're just basically fighting to become the best cabaret club in the whole of Japan, and there becomes a point where Majima becomes like the announcer for this like Grand Prix like kind of rivals contest. So he's just like hype, like it's just incredible stuff. Like some of the voice lines and stuff like that it's just incredible. So you've got that going on. Majima Construction is a thing where he's retired from the Yakuza, and he's took all his little subordinates and made a construction company. And so there's a side mini game of people are trying to take like his contract away from him. So it's like a top-down kind of balloons tower defense mini game where you've got to beat everybody up that tries to take you on. And it's just like, it genuinely is.
I hope that in 3 he just has a completely different job, like he's doing
really
plumbing
funny
or something now.
All the cutscenes, it's just Majima in his snakeskin suit and everything, but wearing a construction helmet, and he never takes the fucking helmet off, like, ever in the entirety of the game. Even in the main story, he's still wearing his fucking helmet, and it's just,
oh my god,
it's just like
That's so
great.
good.
When you're in the menus, there's like a Majima like hype song about how great he is and how great the construction company is. It's like, honestly, it's so good. I just absolutely, like I say, I just adore him as a character, and I'm just like, I understand why people love him so much, because he is just so stupid and absurd, and you've just gotta love him, man. You've gotta love him. And it's just like everything about it, I was like, this is why people like Yakuza. And I looked up, I was like, everyone's favorite Yakuza games go, and they're like top 3 is always 0, 2, and then Like a Dragon, the new one. So I was like, I can understand why 2 and 0 are often like thrown back to back as their favorites, because I'm just like, it's just so good. And if a game that's supposed to be 10 hours long, 15 hours long, I ended up putting like 32 hours into it. If you can get distracted that much, it's a great game, like, genuinely.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if I stop there, which I probably won't, I'll play 3 eventually. I've downloaded it. It's on the PlayStation catalog, so I just downloaded it.
Yeah.
Even if I don't get to it,
even if you don't even like 3, you could just kind of like get a summary of the story and move on to the other one.
Yeah, exactly. But it's just like I say, it's just they're incredibly good games, and I now understand it. Where I'm like, okay, I get why the fan base is as kind of rabid as it is for this franchise. It's just it's so stupid, and it's so much fun, and it's just like it's just an extremely good time. So yeah, I would highly recommend playing Yakuza Kiwami 2. It's a very good one. I like it a lot. It is now my hierarchy that is number 1, then Yakuza 0 is number 2, and then Yakuza 1 is at the bottom. But that one's still good as well, because Majima will stalk you for 20 hours. It's pretty funny. That's where it goes. Majima stalking is at the bottom, playing as Majima is in the middle, and playing slightly as Majima and him being a foreman for a construction company, that is at the top. That's the pinnacle right there. I can't wait to see where it goes in the future. I don't know what Hunter's doing. He's probably got a dog. That would be my guess. Yes, there is a dog.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Get a zoom in on that dog. Wow.
It's been a
Look at it.
while.
It's been a while since the dog's been on the podcast. I don't remember the dog's name.
And she wants to chew the wire.
I don't remember what her name is.
The dog's name is Miami.
Ah, that is it. Hello, Florida. Hello, Flowrider. Very cute. What are your thoughts on Majima from Yakuza? What is your thoughts? Wow.
Silly
dear.
Ethan, she can't hear you.
Yeah, that's why she's not answering. I was like, it's kind of rude, but then I was like, oh yeah, he's wearing headphones. I'll allow it.
Hunter's
Miami,
hogging the audio.
Miami, what do you think of Majima from Yakuza?
Audio listeners, she's trying to escape.
It's because she wants to go and play Yakuza. She's like, wait, what? Wait,
That's
what?
true.
No one can
Majima is a
escape
construction
Majima.
company. Genuinely, there was there was literally a line that was like, I genuinely was crying so hard of laughter where I was like, I had to stop. Where he was talking because it was like, it was like from the section where he's like, he's just started the company and all of his lackeys are like, we don't know what we're doing. And Majima's like, you can look it up on the internet. Just like, he's YouTube tutorialing how to build a fucking
I'm just
tower.
picturing this like he has a manual of
Dude,
a construction manual. He slaps him with it.
Dude,
And
yeah,
you
and
can look it up and shows him a video.
Yeah, he basically does that. He basically kicks his ass and says that, and he's like, no work, no pay. We're good. He's like, we're civilians now, so no work, no pay. And he's just like, but who am I kidding? I'll kill you first. And he's like, yeah, off you go. Smack on the arse and off you go to work. There'll be a tower. And it's just like, like I say, it's really stupid fun. And I love how it juxtaposes how you can have stuff like that, and then you've got like this brutal crime kind of thriller kind of story going on between a war between the East and the West of Japan in terms of their Yakuza control, and then the fact of a Korean mafia also being in the middle of it. And you've got this whole drama with everything going on, and it's super serious, and there's a load of, death and destruction and all that. And then you've just got Majima with his little hard helmet on, and off he goes on his little construction job.
Just minding his own business.
Yeah, and it's just really funny, and it's just...
I open one of the other games. He opens a restaurant, so I'll have like an apron.
It's just I love it. It's like, just little bits like how in Zero he has the cabaret club, and then in Yakuza 1 he used to talk. He was talking to Kiryu. Mentioned this to you. He was talking to Kiryu about how he used to own a cabaret club, and Kiryu couldn't tell if he was joking or not because Majima was crazy. And then in 2 to have him then run that same cabaret club, and then have Majima come into the picture and be like, hey, I used to run this place. And then Kiryu was like, wait, you weren't joking? You were serious?
I thought you were kidding.
Yeah, and it's just like, I just love stuff like that. It's just it's great. I love it. It's I can see why Sam likes it so much. It's a very fun time. Like I say, especially those 3. I'd recommend those 3 in a heartbeat. We'll get to the remasters when we come to it. I've still got Ak-xolotyl playing in the background. I'm sorry, I'm I love that little guy. Most hyped game of 2023 now. Get out of the way, Breath of Tears of the Kingdom. I still can't remember your name properly, so you're not in the picture. Come on.
Yeah, who will ever forget Ak-xolotyl?
Hell yeah, dude. If we get to 250 subs this week, I will buy the rights to Ak-xolotyl, guys. Think about
my god. If you want to nearly double our subscriber count,
oh man,
go ahead.
I will not confirm or deny that was a joke. No pressure. It was a joke. It was a joke. That would cost thousands of dollars, and I do not have that. It's too valuable a brand. Look at it. It's just too valuable.
Yeah, look at it. If you could get it now, though, imagine the money you'd make in the long run.
True.
If only.
You've got a point, Hunter. You've got a point.
That's called investing.
Anyway, that has been our show. Bit of a short one this week, but you know what? It's the quality.
It was short, but it had the juice.
It had the juice. It's the quality. It's not the quantity, and that's what I like to do.
Free and competent.
Free and competent. I don't know. I feel like if it was last season or a couple of seasons ago, I'd be like, this is unacceptable. But at the same time, I'm like, no, if you get an hour, it's a good hour. You'll get a Resi 4 remake review soon at youtube.com/HotGamersOnly, so make sure you go and subscribe.
You sure will.
I'm not going to force these two to work to the grindstone, but grind, monkeys, grind. what can I say? It's tough business here at youtube.com/hotgamersonly. Subscribe. And you too can own partially. You can partially.
Oh man,
own
I already
Ak-xolotyl.
have a snappy plot. I already have a snappy tagline for the website review.
No, that's great. And thank you so
Nice.
much. I know I said it earlier, but thank you so much for the feedback on the website. It means a lot. A lot of you guys have checked it out, and it's really cool. And it now is on Google, so it took some time.
Yeah.
Woo! You can now search for Hot Gamers Only on
We
Google
made it.
and get it. We made it on the thing that we were definitely supposed to be able to make anyway, you know? Like, of course. Anyway, that's been our show, basically. I still haven't sorted the little fast thing out. I don't know, the little outro thing, so
Yeah.
be sure to go and check out the website at hotgamersonly.com for new articles, reviews, and all that jazz. Go to youtube.com/hotgamersonly if you want to help support our bid to buy Ak-xolotyl, the brand. And hey, if you don't want to look at our stupid faces, just go to your favorite podcast service, search for Hot Gamers Only. You can find us Spotify, Apple Podcasts, you name it. We're on it. Go and look us up and leave a review if you can on said podcast service. That'd be greatly appreciated. Yeah, next week, I don't know what we're doing. It's a weird one. We'll probably talk about Chia. We may or may not talk
Might
about
pick
The
up
Last
Have
of
a
Us. My
Nice
guess
Death
is no.
too.
We'll talk about all sorts of things. I'm sure. We'll come up with something. We always do.
We will.
Yeah.
It will happen.
But yeah,
I don't
thank
know.
you.
I finished my fantasy critic punishment from last.
Oh yeah, we can talk about
last draft.
Yeah, we can talk about Elden Ring. We can do that too.
Kyle can talk about Elden
That'll make a
Ring.
good clip. Anyway, we'll be
That'll
back. We'll be back.
Be a thing.
It will be a thing. Maybe Hunter will finally play it one day. We'll be back at some point.
I don't think I can crank out the whole game in a week
Coward.
while also
While
making
doing a review for
Resident
Resident
Evil
Evil
review.
4,
Yeah.
Don't want my hand in it. Anyway, we'll be back same time, same place next week for more. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching, and we'll see you next week. Have an awesome one. Yeah, see you next time. Bye.
See ya.